Hi, and thanks for stopping by. What you're about to see is the first of what I hope to be many episodes of Sports Racer interviews, opportunities to get to know the folks who populate the forums at zafrank.com just a little bit better. Find out what motivates or inspires them. Find out what makes them tick. As this project continues to grow wings, I'm looking forward to seeing how it might expand into multiple crossover threads. But I don't want to get ahead of myself. You can probably expect these interview videos to run between 5 and 10 minutes each. AwedJob, the subject of this inaugural interview video, has a fairly extensive history with the forums and the org. We had a lot of ground to cover, so this interview has been broken up into multiple episodes, the remainder of which will be posted in due course. And if none of what I just said made any sense to you at all, maybe you'll find some helpful information in the video description. Read up, jump on board, and hopefully we'll see you around in the forums. In the meantime, let's roll. Hi, I'm John, also known as DV on the forums, and I want to thank you for joining us on our first ever Sports Racer video interview. And today we have Scott Moore, known by some of you as AwedJob in the forums. And Scott, I want to thank you for joining us and being willing to step forward and helping us initiate this project.
Well, I just wanted to say thank you, John, for coming up with this project idea. I think it's a fantastic idea.
I'm awfully excited to see where it's going to go, so let's jump in, okay? If you don't mind, would you first go ahead and tell me a little bit about your sports racer history?
Sure. I was working on a documentary, producing a documentary about a neighborhood here in Minneapolis, the Phillips neighborhood, and like I think most people, when we're working, I was looking for distraction while I was doing a render. I think I was rendering some transitions, and I typically had gone to Rocket Boom. Do you remember Rocket Boom? I was watching Rocket Boom, and it was in October, I think, and they had a little animated pumpkin, and I think Amanda Condon was still the host at that time.
Yep.
And she was asking questions, and the pumpkin was like answering. So it was totally canned, because they had to animate it. But what they did was they put clay on the face of a regular pumpkin, and they animated that. And I thought it was pretty cool, but I was just like, oh man, I can totally do better. And all they had was the video at the top, and then there was there were all the comments underneath. And I could probably go back and find this, but somebody said, yeah, I started out watching Rocket Boom, but then I discovered the show, and I come back here every now and then just to see if this has gotten better, if Rocket Boom has gotten better, and nope, the show is still better. So I clicked on the link, and man, that was it. That was like falling down the rabbit hole, I watched the current day's show, and like a few months later, when I was going through Zay's site, and there's like a puppet on there that you can make dance different dances based on the song item that you click. It was a little flash toy that he had made, and I had come upon that. Gosh, I don't know, maybe a year before that. I learned very quickly from the comments under the video that there was this whole other supportive network.
This community.
Yeah, it was a community, and it's really strange that I didn't find that from Zay's site, looking at the puppet thing, because it's just like, his main site has just everything in the upper left-hand corner, and then there's all of the links over here, and I just never got to the community, because there's a whole forum set up just from back in the days when he would have When Office Supplies Attack and all those other little games that he would play before he started doing the show. And I think when the org went down and the forum was hacked, then I went over to just the regular Zay Frank forum. Anyway, so that's sort of how it all started. I mean, it was basically it was a welcome invitation by a comment from somebody on some other site, and It was Pilot. Pilot had set up a thread on the forum of like, you're new to the show, and his first recommendation was, I think like the first line item was, start at the beginning and watch all the shows. And I didn't find the wiki right away to know how to get to the first show. I was stuck on the show website in the forum, and so what I did was, there was like a randomize button.
And that just kind of shuffles up the videos so they're out of sequence, but you just get a random topic at any given time, right?
Right. So yeah, eventually I got back to the first show, and then I watched all the way through. And I think I stayed up, I was up to like 4 a.m, like 2 nights in a row, and I just watched them all straight through. And then I found the, he was talking about Ray and the video for Ray, and I think it was that project that Zay had asked for help. And he's like, check out the wiki. And I was like, oh, the wiki. I went over to the wiki, and I'm just like totally seized that project, and I'm like, we've got to get this done. This can totally get done. So yeah, I started soliciting help. Pansy Faust, Autodestructo, Pagey. I mean, you just go over to the wiki, and there's just the list of names, people that helped. It was Topaz, though, that he really hit upon it, because up until the point, it's like, BZE before Zay era, before Common Era, before Zay.
You're starting to characterize him there as a bit of a divinity. Was that intentional?
No. I teach Sunday school, and we were just talking about stuff before Common Era. So I'm like BCE, BZE before. Anyway, so yeah, before Zay, there's something called Evil Vlog, and that was a whole community, online community of artists, and we would just create projects and do stuff. But all of my projects tended to be really complicated, and it was the video for Ray. I'm just like, okay, there was a lot to get done. I mean, there was this story that I think somebody had come up with, so I took that story idea and I drew storyboards. I'm like, okay, we need people to record these parts of video for this. And it doesn't matter that Ray looks like this one guy in one part of the video, and then Ray looks like, somebody else in another part of the video. I mean, they're basically archetypes. There's the evil boss, there's Ray, there's his daughter, and, other ancillary characters. But Topaz came on as like, okay, I think this was about the time that org had started. And he said, here's what you need to do. You need to take 3 pictures of yourself, where your hand is up, and then your hand is close to your butt, and then your hand is smacking your butt. And then what I would do is I took that and I animated those pictures from those still images, and that was the low threshold activity that Zay talked about. It's the low threshold activities that encourage social bonding. It's got to be a very low barrier to entry, and sort of like an aha moment for me. When that happened, I sort of like hit my stride, I figured out this is how it's done, and I want more of that.